CRT-FM 91.1.
Listener supported, Jazz FM 91.
Afternoon Drive with Brad Barker is brought to you by Bay Bloor Radio. Personal attention, expert advice.
Oh, we're meeting it right at the top of the clock. It is 3 p.m. on the button, and it's Brad hanging out with you, and delighted to welcome in a guest. But we are awarding the second half of our Mary Alice Stuart Scholarship Award today. And Mary Alice Stuart, again, I just want to let you know, was a very important person here at our radio station. She's the founding chair of Jazz FM 91 and made unparalleled contributions to our organization in making this place very successful as it is today. So to honor her legacy, a program was developed back in 2009 that awards scholarships to outstanding emerging jazz artists, and that brings us to our guest, Cameron Stewart, who joins us. He's a guitar player from York University and the co-recipient this year of our Mary Alice Stuart Scholarship. Cameron, congratulations, and great to have you here. Welcome.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks for having me.
All right, so you started playing jazz at the age of 12.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Were you? I was reading about you. Were you playing before that, and then jazz came a little later, or was that the first thing that kind of caught your ear?
Yeah, I think I started just sort of at the age where I could pick up my father's guitars, and so jazz came along probably when I was about in middle school-ish.
How does jazz come to a person in middle school? How are you being influenced by that? It's not on the radio. It's not anywhere to be found. Tell us.
Embarrassment. I actually had a friend who we'd jam in my basement. He was a bass player.
Yeah.
And he one day called some tunes, and I was like, what is this? And it was I don't know, Autumn Leaves or something, but I just could not for the life of me figure it out. And I was determined the next time he came over not to be embarrassed. So
Interesting.
I started looking into it a bit, and I started enjoying it.
That's like being on the bandstand in New York, those cutting sessions when someone puts up a chart in front of you and you got to deliver in the moment. Do you remember early on some of your favorite players or some instrumentalists or guitarists that caught your ear in those early days?
Yeah, the first guitarist that really caught my ear was Tal Farlow. I remember listening to the swing guitar of Tal Farlow. And there was one tune on there called Meteor, which was a contrafact on a bird tune called Confirmation. And he did this blazing fast intro, and then the band comes in and they play the head and everything. And I just remember that blowing me away. I was like, I'd never heard someone do something like that. And it was really exciting. That's
really great. Early on, you studied with someone that we play here at the radio station, Nathan Hiltz. Tell me a little bit about working with Nathan at that time. What was his influence on you?
Yeah, Nathan was huge for me. I just found him online, and I emailed him, reaching out for some lessons. And he was very kind. I studied with him for a few years. I actually just saw him a couple nights ago. I went to one of his gigs at the Emmett Ray. He was playing with Chris Banks.
Yes.
And he's always nice. Whenever I see him, he always invites me to play some tunes, sit in. And we've done some gigs together as well.
That's really cool.
So he was definitely very nurturing when I was probably about 14 or 15. And to play with someone of that caliber and to study with them is huge.
It means a lot. You say one of your first formal jazz band experiences was with our own Jazz FM 91 Youth Big Band, which we take some pride in here. But tell us about that experience and being around those other musicians and what it was like at that time. What year was that? Would it have been, Cameron?
I think that would have been 2019.
2019.
It was. I was in it the year COVID kind of shut things down, so I think I would have started in September of 2019. And that was a great experience. I remember doing my audition here in the Jazz FM studio, and I just played some Bach, and I didn't play any jazz or anything, and then he just said, okay, you got the gig. But yeah, it was, to be able to be in a big band that, works hard and practices and is able to play gigs, at age, whatever, I would have been 15 or something, it makes a big difference, and it's... I'm really grateful to have had that.
Was it the first time you were around other people on a regular basis that shared this kind of passion for the music, that were your age, and you could share a lot of that same commonality?
It was, definitely one of the earliest, especially to be in such a genre-defined thing. Like a big band is a very specific style, and it's very, very hard to play that music just the logistics of it and getting 20 people together in a space, and so to get that consistently is amazing.
your one of your next sort of benchmarks was that you participated with the Berkeley Global Jazz Institute workshop, and that took you to Rhode Island in 2019. That must have been a very special time to sort of take it away from your home and be again with other musicians who were sharing your passion as well.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first time I was away from home doing music, and that, it's pretty far, going all the way to Rhode Island, and you eat in the same cafeteria as John Patitucci and Terry Lynn Carrington.
Oh boy,
and, Danilo Perez, a bunch of people, and it's like, wow, you're getting a level of education and interacting with musicians from all around the world. I was the only person from Canada there.
Pretty cool.
I remember they asked me if I'd ever seen an igloo, and I was, I said, yeah, I live in one. But,
I'm older than you, but I haven't ever really.
You haven't seen
I haven't either. But that's amazing that you not only have seen them, but you actually habitate in one of them. So it obviously a learning experience for everyone there to sort of find out about everyone's different life and how they come together and share again this one thing, playing jazz together.
Yeah, and the musicians, I still follow some of them online on Facebook or Instagram, and they're just so successful. And even at that age, they were unbelievably talented musicians I met and got to play with, which was a terrifying experience, but it was exciting.
Well, as a young person, I'm wondering, sometimes when you're around other people who, let's not say better, but inspirational, sometimes it can scare you, and other times it can make you double down and say, I want to get to that next level. Is that kind of the experience you had being in that environment?
Yeah, I think the first night I was there, we did a big open jam session. I thought, oh yeah, people will probably be around where I am. And no, I was the worst one there. And
I bet that's not true, but that's what could be more frightening than that? Just going around and it's time for your 16 bars or whatever your solo. Woo!
Oh yeah.
Hey now.
But as the week went on, I got a lot more comfortable and sort of found my place and what I was able to bring, and then we got to play at the Newport Jazz Festival, which was
incredible,
super exciting.
I want to take credit. You were part of our Jazz FM 91 Youth Big Band. You were also on our show Jazzology, right, with Heather?
Yes, I was.
How was that experience? You're radio ready now here.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So you got the skills from going through Jazzology school.
Yeah. That was great. Heather was very, very kind, as are you. Yeah, it's kind of nice to just be involved with different things. And just to be, on the air. It's nice.
Yeah. I was taking a look at, seems like a pretty busy summer you have, and it's mostly musical stuff, which is a great way to spend your summer. You don't have to sort of go and plant trees or something like that. You're going out east, you're going to Quebec, you're going to the Maritimes, from where I'm from. Tell me a little bit about what's going to bring you out there. What are those gigs?
Yeah, so I'm in a sort of indie pop band called Meteor Heist, and we've been doing we just finished up a bit of Ontario tour. We went out to some western parts of Ontario and played some shows, and in August we're heading east, doing some Quebec stops, and hopefully making it all the way, depending on funding. But that's it's nice to have a project that kind of is able to take you out of the city and into different places.
So after the touring summer, you got one more year at York. What can we expect moving forward? Where do you see this going? You want to be a professional musician working in the city, or where do you think the music will take you?
Yeah, I certainly always want to be playing. I'm always happy just to be sitting at home practicing. I have no issue doing that for the rest of my life, and I'm sure that I will. I love playing at bars and clubs, and but even if it's not a career, if it's just there's no situation where it's not a part of my life for the rest of my life.
That's so great. How many hours are you putting in at home? I'm scary sometimes how much work goes into playing jazz, but what's the woodshed? How long are you in there for?
A long time.
Yeah?
Every day. At least a couple hours every day. I've been learning pedal steel recently.
Oh, cool.
That's been my recent project. And that takes a lot of work. It's very different from the guitar. It's
Seems like a whole other animal, really.
It's a whole other beast. But it's a whole other world of music to explore. And I just recently wrote an essay on Buddy Emmons, the great pedal steel player, and how his how he branched out from country and did jazz records and was the first pedal steel player to go to New York and record a jazz record.
He did one with Lenny Breau, right?
He did a couple with Lenny Breau that are really fantastic albums. And he was revered by Pat Martino and all these different people.
He's the only guy, the only pedal steel jazz guy I know. So that's interesting. That he must be the top of the shelf, right? That guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cameron, it's a delight to speak with you. Congratulations on the award. I'm glad that there was something that we did here that puts a little money your way and puts a little spotlight on someone who's very talented. So again, congratulations. Best of luck next year at school and moving forward.
Thank you.
I thought we'd play a little Tal Farlow on the way out.
Awesome.
Let's do it. Here is It's You or No One. And thanks to our very special guest here in our studio today, Cameron Stewart, the recipient of our Mary Alice Stuart Scholarship Award.